what your writing says about your leadership. So, welcome this morning. We are going to look at a very specific aspect of your communication, your writing as a leader. So, my name is Melissa, and I'm an executive coach and a management consultant, and I work with leaders every day. So, I work with a lot of high level managers and executives who are developing their voice. They're enhancing their leadership communication, they're increasing their influence, they're building up their executive presence so that they can have more impact. And they can have more impact without sacrificing themselves in the process, right? So you can work hard, or you can have your communication do the heavy lifting for you so that you can focus on what matters the most in your role. And so today I want to focus in on a very, I want to say exciting. It's because we have a very special, exciting announcement that we're going to share with you today, because we've been doing some work behind the scenes. But we're going to be focusing in on writing for today's live. Joining me in this conversation is Kay. Kay is part of my team. I go like this because that's where she sits on my screen. I don't know if it's the same for you. Okay, tell us a little bit about you and maybe some of your thoughts on communication and writing.
Yeah, absolutely. For those still getting to know me, I'm Kay. I'm the client solution specialist here at In Charge Coaching. And what that means is I help In Charge Coaching deliver value to leaders. And I also am the lead on organizing public facing learning opportunities such as this live, the workshops you attend, the masterclasses you attend. But today I'm here to give you a team perspective about written communication. I feel like day in and day out, as a person working in an organization, you are in the trenches of communication, and you see
Right.
how leaders communicate behind the scenes through emails, through Slack updates, or in our case, Voxer updates, and like strategy session, project briefs. So I feel like written communication, when that is not clear, the effects are real.
Yeah.
Because when a message doesn't land in a way that the leader intended it to land, it's the team that feels it first. So I'm quite excited about this topic as well. And yeah, let's dive in.
And it's really interesting for you, Kay, because you have a marketing background, so communication is very much part of what you've known and the skills that you've built up.
Yeah, yeah,
And
it is.
and it's part of how we communicate with our clients. It's part of how we communicate with our network. It's part of how we communicate internally. So there's many layers of how we use our written communication.
Yeah.
And when I think about written communication, I think about an interaction. It's actually an opportunity to continue nurturing and building a relationship. It's an
Yeah.
opportunity um, to move towards an outcome, a desired outcome.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah.
And there's a reason we communicate. There's a reason why we speak and somebody listens.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Yeah.
either going to be successful or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Either going to meet the speaker's needs and the listener's needs, or it's not. And so
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to written communication, the stakes, it's something that we do without even putting much thought to it, or sometimes putting too much thought to it. And the stakes
Tell
are
me
high.
about it.
Even when we're not really putting attention to it, the stakes are high because the relationships, our influence isn't built in big dramatic ways. They're built in those moments, those small interactions that we're having. That
Mm-hmm.
email that you sent, that was a one liner, that was just about this one thing that you needed to get through or get done in this high stress moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's when your influence is being built or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I want to talk about a little bit about the work that I do with clients because I do a lot of work on the communication front. And oftentimes we're focusing on the verbal part of the communication. So we're developing the skills to have hard conversations, to give feedback, to hold boundaries, to speak in a way that excites people and engage in them, how we're getting buy-in, how we're involving people in change, right?
Mm-hmm.
How we're going to
Mm-hmm.
get on stage and speak to a room full of people in a way that they feel connected and involved and they walk away, right, with that
Mm-hmm.
alignment and that desire to take action.
Mm-hmm.
And so we do all of this beautiful work to enhance and develop our voice and even like the uniqueness of who we are as leaders and build up that voice. And then we turn around and we send a one-liner straight to the point communication that totally doesn't represent, right,
Yeah.
all of that work that we've done.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Have you, as I'm speaking about this, what's coming up in your mind and have you noticed this?
Yeah, absolutely. I What's coming up is how much assumptions fill the void when a message isn't clear. So, for example, you talked about the email with the one liner email. If the email is vague, the team will usually assume or feel like it's undecided, or worse, disengage. Or if it's like overly formal, we assume like, oh, maybe the person is annoyed or they're putting up a wall. And rather than like when it's clear and direct and human, it builds a lot of trust. So it makes me feel
Exactly.
like, okay, now we are aligned, we know what's expected. So that kind of communication saves, I think, hours of back and forth, second guessing.
Yeah. And so, nail on the head here.
Hmm.
When we go to a written communication, there is a lot of left behind, like your tone, your voice, your presence.
Yeah.
All of that is not included. So now your words and what words you use or not use is going to
Hmm.
make all of the difference. So you need to create that presence, create that tone using the right words. And I'm not saying add a lot of fluff here. That is not at all. Actually, I'm big on cutting out the fluff
Yeah,
and being
that's right.
direct, but using the right words that will create that impact, that will have that create that same presence and
Hmm.
tone as if you were in the same room having a conversation.
Yeah.
And that's what's important is creating that alignment, right? And
Mm.
how we create that alignment.
Hmm.
One thing that I hear a lot is, how much time we're spending in meetings and meetings and meetings, and can we cut down on the meetings, right? Couldn't have that been an email question mark? Well,
Yeah.
maybe. And I think that really depends on the quality of that email.
Hmm.
Could you have had the same impact through
Hmm.
that email as you did through the meeting? And so
Yeah.
there's a beautiful opportunity when we start using a written communication effectively is we get to get time back because that can actually have impact and it's
Hmm.
saving us from having to always be in meetings communicating it. But only if that written communication can measure up to the impact you would have in person.
Hmm. Yeah.
What thoughts are coming up? Any questions that are coming up?
Yeah. So I'm just like wondering, when you see leaders over explaining in writing, how does that land on the team side? That just
Mhm.
something that came to my mind.
Yeah. So over explaining, but maybe not giving the right information.
Yeah. Yeah, because that has happened with me before. Like a huge chunk of text came up, but I still was not clear on where to go from there.
Yeah. And so
Mhm.
more is not more, but less is not more either.
Yeah, well said. Touche.
It really comes down to, are we communicating what needs to be communicated in the right way? What does our choice of words look like in that moment?
Mm-hmm.
And is it
Yeah.
the right words for that person, or the people listening or receiving this email communication? So some of I spend a lot of time in the background. So here I'm going to talk to you a little bit what happens behind the scenes in coaching calls. I will do audits, right? I do a lot of
Mhm.
audits where, okay, this is an email that needs to go out to a stakeholder or to an employee or to my upline, and I'm trying to achieve X with this piece of communication. Maybe I'm trying to get buy-in on a project. Maybe I need to push back on expectations that are being set on my team that aren't realistic. Maybe I'm communicating with my team about some changes that are coming down the pipeline, and I want to do that
Mhm.
in a way that they're going to be able to buy in and get on board. Maybe I want to, some of the communication is big changes, heat of the moment. They're not going to like it. We need to communicate it to all staff across the organization and different levels
Mhm.
of staff there. So we're going to be, the staff on the front lines, middle management, high level management, or, so we've got different people that are going to receive this piece of communication. By the way, we'd probably have different communication going to the different audiences.
Yeah.
But all of these different things comes to in our coaching sessions, and then we go through the communication. We look at what is the goal of this communication? What
Mhm.
kind of impact are we trying to achieve with it? So we
Mhm.
so the person reads it, then what? Question mark. It's really important to know,
Yeah.
why we're communicating and what is the outcome that we're looking for. And then we can start looking at that piece of communication and going through it line by line. So I do a full audit, and we look at the choice of words, we look at the framing, we look at the positioning of things, we look at the invitation, we look at the assumptions, we look at the over explaining. What do we need to explain? What does need to be included here and not included?
Mhm.
Often
Yeah.
we want to say a lot of things, right, in order to protect ourselves or to self-preserve that aren't needed and actually will work against us. We look
Mhm.
at the risks of that are embedded in the communication. We manage the risks.
Yeah.
Um, so all of that said, uh, I get to do this every week. And these
Beautiful.
are, sometimes, yeah, they are. I am looking at just like everyday communication, and often I'm looking at these really high risk, high reward pieces of communications that are going out.
Mhm.
I also do audits where we look at multiple pieces of communication, and I look at the patterns of communication for that person,
Ooh.
and I look at how that is impacting the reader and the impression that they're leaving.
Wow.
So now the feedback is less about specifically, and it's more about here's the opportunity moving forward
Mhm.
for communication.
It's a whole new world.
So what do you get from all of that, Kate? Because I know these are things that are happening behind, like really not just behind the scenes in our business, but behind the scenes in my coaching sessions.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you were aware of
uh,
that depth, and I'm
I
curious
didn't know. Yeah.
what's coming up.
I didn't know there was so much depth to it. I did know about it a little bit, but so much depth and structure. I'm hearing you talk about it the first time, and it just blows my mind. And also, just puts things in place. Because I've noticed with you, Melissa, your writing feels like you. Um, how do I
Yes.
explain that? Like, there's no disconnect between like, oh, there's Melissa on Zoom versus there's Melissa on email or Voxer. There is a lot of consistency, and I see now where's that coming from. So yeah, a lot of clarity, and there's like you. I always see you like you never assume. Um, you know what you mean, like assume like I would know what you mean. You do that even like without over explaining, and I've noticed that. I have never told you about it, but I feel like now is the right time.
Okay.
But you do that so beautifully, and I really appreciate it. Like I've noticed it with your, messages and your Voxer notes. It's wonderful. So now I see where is that from.
Thank you. Oh, I love that feedback. Thank you. Feels good on a Wednesday. Um, so I get to see in all of that work, I get to see a lot of patterns that people are using. What is effective? What is not effective? I have the what not to do and what to do instead. Um, and there's a lot of what I'm seeing is people using AI. Okay, so
Ooh.
the rise of AI, and I think it's worth talking about because it's been a shortcut and it's helped speed us up when we don't have enough time. And
Hmm.
I am a user of AI, so my message is not stop using AI, it's bad. But my message is AI will do a lot of things that are in the don't do category that will work against you. But we're so used to doing it. There's a lot of things that we've learned in business writing or that AI will spit out that actually, affronts the reader's ego,
Hmm.
or it's weaved in a lot of assumptions. It's taking emotions out of it and actually coming off as cold, distance, overly formal, and leaving the person, the reader, really feeling not cared about, unimportant, disposable. And, the fastest way to create disengagement is when people feel disposable, when they feel like they don't matter.
Hmm. Yeah, I can
And a
relate.
whole host of other things that AI is creating in our writing.
Yeah.
So when I look at that, there's a rising challenge here. There is this beautiful opportunity to use AI to help us move faster, and yet it is creating a lot more problems. We're sending emails out that people don't want to read because it's full of words that aren't meaningful to them.
Hmm.
They go, oh my God, another one of those. And they know it's AI, it feels robotic.
Yeah, it does. You know it.
Yeah.
M dashes.
And lots of other things. So I see a lot of
Yeah.
the framings and a lot of the
Mm.
things that come out of AI. So I pick up on those patterns very easily. So there is a way to leverage AI. But first, you need to understand what is going to make your writing really effective, really influential, and really impactful, and to feel confident in that knowledge, knowing exactly what to do and what not to do,
Hmm.
and how to create it. And once you come from that place of knowledge, then you can use a tool like AI to help speed you up.
Yeah.
But you need to be able to put the right inputs and then
Hmm.
know how to edit the output.
Mm. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. You've seen me do it.
Yeah. I have.
Absolutely. So the rise of AI is here,
Yes,
and you
it
can get
is.
lost in the sea of all of the generic AI outputs, or
Hmm.
you can know better and you can do better
Yeah.
and you can stand out. You can have your voice, your leadership felt, You can have employees have that consistency between what you're saying in a meeting and then how you're showing up in your writing. And every piece of writing, every time your employee, your upline, your stakeholders read a piece of email, even if it seems like a throwaway communication, that's an interaction. That's building the relationship for good
Mhm.
or for bad, right?
Yeah.
And people will remember how they feel
Mm. You bet.
in your presence. And guess what? When you're showing up in their inbox, huh, there you are.
Yeah.
So beautiful opportunity here. And that is why I'm really excited to let you in on a special workshop that we've put together. So in a
Nice.
few weeks, we're going to be having the Persuasive Writing workshop for leaders. So what this is the full day with me, live personal event where I'm going to walk you through exactly how to produce what it is that I'm talking about. I'm going to help you know exactly how to write in a way that represents your unique leadership voice. So I'm not going to give you anything generic. There's not going to be yours exactly, but we're going
Yeah.
to look at who you are as a leader, what you're trying to achieve, and adjust your writing for that to have the impact that you want to have. So, what you can expect to walk away with in this workshop is the ability to write with confidence. Okay. Either, we're not thinking or we're thinking too much, right? And I want to stop that. I want you to feel confident in every piece of writing without having to put too much thought to it. But know that the piece of the information that you're sending, the words that you're choosing is going to have that impact. And that feels good. You have that inner knowing that yes, you are doing
Yeah.
it in the right way and you're having the impact. Um, that means your message is going to be clear, it's going to be concise. We're not going to add fluff. We're going to choose different words.
Hmm.
So you can get to the point. Your emails shouldn't be long. Okay, long emails, no, that should be a meeting. If it needs to be a really long
That
email,
should
it
be a
probably
meeting. Love that.
right? But a
Yeah.
lot, a lot can be communicated in very little. It doesn't have to be long. So we can get to the point without losing people, without creating any kind of reaction, and that's the hard part, right? How will it land, and how will people react to this?
Yeah.
So we can manage the reactions and not have to, go clean up the mess afterwards because they've read the email and then they went to their colleague and they talked about it and then they all got together and they've all, created some beliefs around what you just said. And now you have to go clarify your intentions and work backwards. So we're going to
Yeah.
stop doing that. We're going to be clear, concise, and have the impact that we want to have. I'm going to give you some tools. So I'm a systems girl. This is not going to be, some nice ideas or some nice theory. I'm going to give you actual tools. You're going to be walked through a step-by-step process. You're going to start with this tool, then you're going to do this, and then you're going to do that. Right? There's
Hmm.
going to be a very uh, processed way of going through it, and the tools for you to be able to rinse and repeat after the workshop. And really important that we create that streamline between who you are as a leader, your voice that you've probably invested a lot of time in developing.
Mm.
How you're showing up at the board meeting, or the board table, how you're showing up in your team meetings, how you're showing up in your one-on-ones. this is what we want to create in your writing. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. And you're going to walk away with time. When
Mm-hmm.
you're not overthinking, when you're not stressing out about writing the email or rewriting it 100 times, and when you can save yourself time by using written communication instead of having so many meetings, and then not having time lost in cleaning up. These are all ways that you're getting your time back. I love my written communication. I do a lot with it and I get a lot of time back
Mm-hmm.
because of my writing. So I make sure that my writing hits the target every time.
It does.
All right, so how do you get in on this workshop? Well, I'm going to invite you to drop the word workshop below, and I'm going to send you, or Kay is going to send you a personal DM with all of the information about the workshop, how to register, the price. The date is August 22nd. So it's a Friday, so you can take that Friday to focus on you. And so you'll get everything through DM, all of the information. We'll answer all of your questions. And if you register by next Tuesday, you actually will get in on the early bird pricing. So you're going to save $100 by registering
Mm-hmm.
before next Tuesday. So there is some time sensitive um, things here. It is happening on August 22nd, and you can save $100 by registering before next Tuesday, August 12th. And what you need to do is drop workshop in the comments, and we will reach out to you and make sure that you have everything that you need to decide if you want to join us or
Yeah.
not. So, Kay, what else do people need to know about the workshop? I think I covered the main pieces,
Yes.
but what
Very.
else do you think might be important here?
Well, first of all, like I would like to share that this is not a passive workshop. Melissa will go in coaching, feedback, practical examples. You'll be working on your actual messages and getting real time input.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. And you are going to walk away with a communication toolkit that's designed to take the overthinking or second guessing out of the writing, and bring a colleague, bring your team members, because once you learn this, it will completely change your entire way that your team operates. And I also want to hit on something, the fact that it's so needed right now, because what I've been seeing and feeling is that AI has made this challenge even trickier.
It has.
It's just easy to plug your thoughts into chat gpt and get a template and hit send. But what ends up happening is that sometimes the message sounds too polished. It doesn't sound like you. It lacks your tone, or in this case the leadership tone, the clarity that people need to actually understand what you're asking of them. And I feel like that's where team or the leaders start wondering, why is my team confused, or what am I missing? I was crystal clear. So, but the truth is, the clarity didn't come through in your writing. So, I'm
Yeah.
very excited about this workshop. This is so timely. Yes.
I would say the clarity and the emotional intelligence. And this is
Yeah.
one thing that AI will never replace. That is the thing that makes leaders great and make us, we will always be needed.
Yes,
We will
exactly.
always be needed. And what's the difference maker is the emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I am very excited about this workshop. It's going to help people kind of stop blending in with the AI sounding emails and actually communicate with confidence and influence and authority. So, yeah, very excited.
And it's a brand new workshop. So,
Brand
Kate, you're going
new.
to be participating as a participant. What are you
Wow.
excited about?
Wow, I'm quite excited. First of all, I am quite excited about like just seeing how understanding, like, first of all, the understanding comes so late that written communication has such a big, huge impact. So understanding that and just working through my communication challenges, my own communication challenges, in terms of writing, I'm really excited how to get real time feedback on that. So wow, yeah, can't wait.
It's going to be a good one. I'm
Yeah,
excited. You're excited. I hope you're excited if you're watching here today and drop a workshop, and we'll talk.
yeah,
We'll chat.
reach
We'll
out.
give you
Yeah,
all the information, and then you can decide if that is something that you want to get in on. So thank you,
absolutely.
everyone. Have a beautiful Wednesday. I have to go audit some communication now. For real.
Yeah.
That's my next session. So I
Mhm.
will see you later.
See you.
Bye.